I'm just going to kick off right away talking today about what I can see. I said earlier, I visit schools, multiple times a week, observing and watching and doing research. And I too often see things like a paraprofessional who does not have communication time with educators, or a student who is flanked by a professional, flanked or velcroed to or stood close by a paraprofessional. I often go places and people say to me, Julie, to see our room. Or Julie, over there, those are our inclusion students. And one of the things I believe to be is if you have an inclusion room and if you have inclusion students, you don't really have inclusion. So in inclusive schools, you would see all students are included and you wouldn't see between students who are included and students who aren't. I often see social interactions blocked by structure. And what I mean by that, times you'll see students who are related ways that we do special education in the United States. So social interactions are blocked by the fact that during recess the student is working with an occupational therapist, or during a partner assignment they're supposed to be working with another student, a paraprofessional is working with that student instead of thinking about that student-to-student interaction. Or students are pulled out for services. So students are leaving the classroom in and out all day long, and that actually disrupts their social interactions and their academic success. The other thing I see, students becoming dependent upon adults. I'll give an example of this. The other day I was in a classroom and the teacher said, open the book to page 432. Most students opened the book. The student who I knew was supported by a paraprofessional, instead of looking for their book to take it out, they craned their head around the room in search of the paraprofessional. And that's a good indication for me that that student is overly dependent on adults. We want our students to be as independent or interdependent as possible. When I say the word interdependent, I'm going to talk more about this later. What I mean is dependent upon peers or friends as opposed to people who are paid to support. And the last thing that I too often see are paraprofessionals who are not effectively utilized. And please forgive the term utilized or utilization. I'm struggle to find a different term for this. But what I mean is I see these incredibly creative, capable paraprofessionals who are spending too much time seated in the back of the room while an educator is teaching. And what I want to have happen is that paraprofessionals' skills and talents are utilized throughout the school day so that we can all benefit from their experience and expertise. What I like to see more of would be students naturally included. Paraprofessional support that is what I call just right. Teachers effectively communicating with paraprofessionals. Paraprofessional support that is fated. When I say fated here, what I mean is paraprofessionals who are stepping back from students, who are engineering social relationships, who are engineering partnerships, instead of jumping to support. What I'd like to see more of would be truly inclusive schools, where all students, whether they have or do not have a disability, are part of the general education classroom, they're part of the social scene, and there is really no distinguishing structures or schedules for students with disabilities. Services and supports that are provided seamlessly. What I'd like to see is instead of having students leave to learn for supports, I'd rather like to see services and supports brought directly to a student. And then lastly, I'd like to see more of student interdependence or